Alright, hey people, it's Melissa here. I'm throwing out another video today. Okay, so what's been on my mind the last couple days, and it's been kind of solidified today, is how important it is for women to have support. Not only girls, but women. And I guess this is coming from a place where I did a video about being out where I used to stand in front of Planned Parenthood, and I stopped over there last Friday and I talked with a lady, I'll call her Jamie just to protect her identity, and she was saying that this is where the girls are. If you want to help girls, this is where they are. You know, you want to offer girls help in front of the clinics. You want to be able to get to where they are and relate to them. A lot of times girls will not go to places to get help because they may feel they don't deserve it. They may feel they don't know about it. It may be too intimidating. So where I'm on the sidewalks, I've been on the sidewalks trying to help girls. It's something that we need to learn as women, and a lot of times we haven't. We think it's shameful to get help, and society makes it look like it's shameful. So that is one thing that we had talked about, is that the girls are there and they also need support, and that should be the number one reason we are either on the sidewalks or in a pregnancy center of some sort to help girls, is to give them the support they need. It doesn't mean that you respect their decision to abort, but it does mean that you respect them in their humanity and as a person, just as you would want to be respected and accepted and loved and cared for. That is what we want long term. We want to develop relationships. We want to have this feeling of love and acceptance toward women. The other thing we want to do when I talk about supporting women is we want support for families. We want support for women as much as we can. So for example, not only do we want a place where people can come to church and hear the word of God and feel loved and accepted, but we want to hear the gospel, and we want to hear not only the truth, but we want it hand in hand with making people feel welcomed and warm and loved and cared for. I mean, if you're just hearing, the pastors who have visited churches banging their fist at the pulpit and, condemning you and making you feel like trash, that's really not the best approach in that area. Because you want to be, when you go to church, I've seen so many people fall away from church for some of the dumbest reasons too. A lot of divisiveness, a lot of nitpicky, what color is the wallpaper? Let's fight over that. You don't want that. You want to be grounded and rooted in the gospel, in Christ, and know that this is long-term. It's a long-term commitment, your walk with God. So you want to, if you have to go to different churches, which I have, I've experimented with different churches to see what's offered. There's nothing wrong with that. They call it, it's kind of like a negative view of being a cafeteria Christian, but you need to get your needs met. And there may be a time in your life where you feel, okay, this youth group is better for my kids, or this would work better, then go for it. On top of that, kind of support with some sense of community there, especially if you come from a broken home. I had a father who just abandoned me and left me and didn't prioritize me. He kicked me out of his life. And that's something that, as you heal from abortion, that also some of those relationships start coming out. And when you hear church leaders just say, honor your parents, honor your father and mother, without allowing you to heal from some of that stuff, it really doesn't do anyone any good. So for example, today I just heard a song by Kelly Clarkson that I'm not like, I stick to my same music. So I listened to her song called Piece by Piece, and it really hit a chord in my heart, where she talks about a father who prioritizes her and put her, how important it is to have a father who's great, who puts you first in his life, who will never leave you, and how there are other men in your life who will be kind to you and pick you up and be good to you. And I just thought that is so true. So when you've come from a broken home and those wounds start coming out and you're like, holy cow, yeah, he didn't prioritize me. He didn't, he was emotionally distant, or, those type of things. You can find the good. You can find like, okay, at least he taught me this, or he did this. But the truth is, if you had a father who was emotionally distant or not around for you, it really does wound you as a woman, and that can go right into your marriage. And you want support for your marriage, you want support for your children, you want to have enough there for them so they're not going to fall through the cracks. I remember one person who really wanted my son to succeed, and I'll never forget that his view was, you want your kids to succeed. You want your family to succeed. You want a thriving family. You want this. And as a woman, like, I just took a class today, and I'm going to be taking more classes with these people, but they were talking about how if you don't have enough support in your life, it affects every single area of your life. It affects your work, it affects your self-esteem, it affects all areas of your life. And when we don't have churches that are supportive and hypocritical, and they only want to love who they want to love, and they only want to reach out to their favorites, and don't want to love their enemies, it really does say something. So we want churches that are extremely supportive of people. And if you are somebody, a girl or someone who has not gotten support in your life that you need, don't be ashamed to be the one to do it. Don't be ashamed to be taking the leadership in your life and making sure that you get everything that you need. Don't be ashamed to do that for yourself, because a lot of times we hear, time heals everything. It doesn't. If you are somebody who has like certain things that have happened in your life and you're not able to fix the problem or work it out, time just doesn't heal it. You want to actually address things. You want to be able to deal with things well so that you can move forward and take care of other things in your life. So it's really important to have some of this knowledge, and a lot of times we unconsciously just don't realize that there are better ways to do things. If you're working really hard and carrying like the whole load in your marriage, you may have learned that from your family. Like, I know that my mom was somebody who carried a load quite a bit, and that's easy for me to do, to carry a load. And you want to be able to do things differently, to constantly be working on your mind and your mindset, because that is where your success will be, and to get all the support you need. And I think of these girls at the clinics who feel like they don't have anyone, and maybe you don't. I know I didn't have anyone. I didn't have a choice with a forced abortion. I didn't even get to the point of understanding that, to process like I was a mother. I just knew I was pregnant and I was in trouble, and all I could do was feel the shame and absorb that, and I couldn't even process thinking that I'm a mother now. I didn't even get there. I didn't even get to what exactly are the stages of pregnancy. What, just you're pregnant and we have a problem and it's being taken care of kind of thing. Because it wasn't okay to be pregnant. But it was okay to, have sex outside of marriage. And that really sets girls up too. So when you are feeling like you need support and advice, a lot of times it's good to go outside your family origin too. I worked for years at breaking generational patterns. I actually have a book, and I wish I could remember the name of it. It's put away right now, but breaking the generational patterns, breaking those habits that go from generation to generation, leaving those. And what was I going to say? Yeah, just leave. If you're getting advice from, I guess, like-minded people, or maybe they come from the same origin, family and friends, you really kind of want to break through that too. And you want to get advice from people who, it's great to have support from like-minded people, but you want people who can see things differently too, and be able to use words that show you truth. Like, I'm a really wordy person, and when somebody says something a certain way, just a light bulb can go off. One insight, one way of saying it. And it's really stupid to not take like all the help. Like, there's a woman right now where I'm taking her class, and she has studied years and years like I have, but she's dug in a different way than I have. She's approached it differently, or she's had a different experience. So to not learn from somebody else who has coaching practice, or who has has some degrees behind their under their belt that you haven't, it's not saying that they're better than you, but they do see things differently, and that is a great resource to have. So make sure you get support. And I guess to girls who may see this later on, or who are pregnant and do not feel like they have anybody, reach out. And I wish that I could have reached out to somebody. I wish I could have had someone to talk to, I guess. This happened so fast to me. I was taken out of school, and it just, boom, it was just the way it was. And I didn't have the ability to talk to anybody. I mean, I was shamed so much. It was a secret, and why would I have told someone? So if you're feeling like, there's a secret and you can't tell someone, the best way to break a secret is to tell someone, to take that out of the darkness, and to say, hey, this is what's going on in my life, and to reach out. And whether that's a school counselor you might have as a girl right now, or just a friend, reach out. I did reach out afterwards, and I really didn't tell anyone, because I pushed it under the rug, but there was one person I told, and then there was another person I told, and that person actually, betrayed me and told on me, so to say. So that was some more shame. But that one person I did tell did show compassion and care. And then later on, when I was at the pregnancy center, because I had only told a couple people and I was kind of hushed back down, I told a lady at a pregnancy center that I don't know how I spit it out. I might have said I had an abortion or whatever. And she was the one that was really able to help me heal within seconds, and just say, God forgives as far as the east to the west. She didn't know whether I had chose. She didn't know the whole situation. So, I mean, I kind of did take that blame and put it upon myself, and I couldn't forgive myself. And later on, I was able to put the blame where it belonged. But again, I felt like, on top of feeling like God was mad at me, I already felt like I had shame, and then I took some more shame. But at the same time, God brought me out of that, where I was able to say, okay, if God is a forgiving God and I can't forgive myself, it's prideful. Why? If God can forgive me, why can't I forgive myself? So that was the beginning of my healing. Just one person saying like a sentence to me. And if I hadn't blurted something out, I would not have gotten the help that I needed and been where I am today. So you want to, be able to get support. And later on, I mean, I was kind of dealing with that myself, trying to piece together. I wasn't a Christian that I knew of. I think as a little girl, when I believed in God, but there was no God around me. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm looking at the time here, but basically that was the beginning in dealing with a lot on my own, and it was a slow process. It was like I said, you know, realizing, okay, in my other videos, I had realized, you know, my baby was kicking, and at that time, I kind of put one and one together and was like, wait a minute, that was a baby whenever that abortion happened, and had to get my records and figure out how far along I was. I had to, when something was bothering me, like hearing a vacuum or something, I kind of had to figure that out, and I carried that for like many years on my own, and just kind of shoved it under the rug. And then when I did finally go to a CareNet, I was able to get out, I don't want to say even half of it, but some of it. I was able to get out maybe a third of that, and that's where a healing happened more. And then I was able to take my story and testify at the State House against abortion, and that was healing for me. I was able to stand on the sidewalk, and that was healing for me. To be able to process my abortion more with seeing the girls go into the clinic and remembering, like I barely remember just I know my mother was walking next to me and shielding me, but I barely remember some people outside. I don't know what they said. That it was from a distance. It wasn't like coming up to me and saying, can I help you? It was, you know, it was really healing to be on the sidewalks. It was healing to, you know, write things that I wrote about it. And so any way that you can make sure you get support, I guess, is what I would say. And I hope what the sidewalks turn into is a place girls will find support. I mean, at one point I even took a stroller and had, I had like a little table with like diapers right there. I mean, I would love to see as much help offered at the sidewalks. There's another lady I know who will take your kids right to school if you need help. She would do anything to help you raise your kid. So there's tons of support out there, especially nowadays. Nowadays we're talking about it. So get the support you need. And that's about it on this video. Thanks for joining me.